they're ready to start? Or
I just started it.
Okay.
Oh, no, okay.
We're on candid camera now, so.
Hey, you are
everybody-
Dave.
Okay,
You
we'll
got
watch along with her.
No more skiing.
No more
so
skiing, screaming as you go down.
No,
There's soda too.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you,
Yes,
thank
welcome.
you, and for those that took time off from work, really, thank you so much for being here today. Shall we start with a word of prayer?
Yes.
The Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Let us pray. Loving God, we come together as a community, particularly on this feast day of the conversion of St. Paul. As you filled his heart and drew him close to you, that he gave everything over, knowing that everything else is lost except you. So as you fill the hearts of this community that have responded to the holy word, to the gospel, to your Son, Jesus Christ, draw us together by the power of your Spirit, that as we work together and they begin to discern a pastor, a partner, a preacher, and a teacher who you have laid your hand on, who will lead them in the next part of their journey. We give you thanks and ask for your grace in the Spirit in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so these are members of the vestry.
Mhm.
Linda made all of the name tags, so you don't have to say hey you.
Hey, wonderful.
And this
And a
is
lovely handwriting you have, Linda.
Yes.
It is definitely not canon arts.
This is the Reverend Canon Joanne Izzo, and she will be the presenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you're all on vestry, and this is being recorded as well,
Yes.
correct? Great. So this is anyone on the search that brought the clergy here the first time?
Oh, I've been on a lot of searches.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember being on that.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to see your name.
Dave.
Oh.
Dave, okay.
Two Daves.
Okay,
Three
Dave.
Yeah.
Days are down.
Oh, the Daves are down
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
table, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And they're letting you sit next to them, Al, right? Is that it? Okay. Al's the bridge. Okay. So this is gonna be, Dave, this is gonna be a lot different than searches you've been on before. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the material, but this is literally what we're doing is, why we're doing an accelerated search process. We're going to do it while your rector is still here in place. Why are we doing that? Because there are very few interims. We are in a clergy shortage, like it's a huge shortage. As a matter of fact, we put it in very kind of secular terms, it's a buyer's market, and the clergy are the buyers.
Wow.
So they can really pick and choose where they want to go and what kind of package is being offered, and if this is a situation for them. So what I've brought into the Diocese of New Jersey is a process I developed with a canon in the Diocese of Long Island and someone else. The three of us put our heads together. We came up with what we call fast track, accelerated, express lane, the left-hand lane, whatever you want to call it, a process that moves things through in a much, it's a faster, it's much more intensive. So this is like, you need to really be prepared for the amount of focus. It's going to be intense, and then it's going to relax, and then it'll get intense, and then it'll relax. But to really, we created this process back in 2020, and what I will say is it's working. So it's, in other words, from a scientific point of view, can can we repeat the program we set up, and does it come up with the same positive results? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing here.
So in essence, you're searching us as well as we're searching you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you'll see that accelerated search process. This is the best place for you to look first.
Yep.
All the other materials we can. I don't want to overwhelm you today. I really want you just to sink your teeth into what the process is, and if we can do Zoom meetings, from time to time when we can do that, because then I can be available and we can break down the process as you're going through. So I want to just focus on the overview today and the first thing that you're going to need to be doing. Okay?
Yep.
Jane.
And this is not a spiel, so please ask questions. Don't feel that you're disturbing or interrupting me. This really should be a dialogue, and this is the time to ask questions. So, the first thing that you can do among yourselves after I'm gone, whether you do it today or do it in the next couple of days, the whole process is geared around 5 big questions. So the 5 big questions. We start off with, name the 5 big things about us. What are the 5 big things about Holy Apostles? And work on that together. Come up with, I think you're going to have no trouble coming up with 5. You're looking a little skeptical there, Lee?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
So, then, together, you do this work together. Name 5 or anywhere from 1 to 5. Don't go more than 5. If you got more than 5, we gotta have a whole nother conversation on landmines. So, a landmine. Anybody know what a landmine is?
Sure do.
How does it get there?
It has to be buried in that.
And someone knows where they buried
Well,
it.
sure, there's always a map.
That's right.
Yep.
And you're generally putting it there, but someone else innocently walking by doesn't know.
That's correct.
Okay, so the way, and we use the word landmine, so these are things that would be hidden to a new clergy person that might not know. And when I have conversations with clergy, we always laugh because we say, there is not one clergy person who is not say, it's like kind of the image would be, imagine your priest in a chasuble covered in dust. And it's like, okay, I didn't know that landmine was there. It would have been nice if somebody would have told me. And landmines can be everything from the new priest deciding they don't like one of the appointments in the church and moving it out and not asking, and then someone saying, my great grandmother gave that. And so does this sound familiar?
Yes.
Oh, yes. So, and that creates that can be a potential train wreck for a relationship. So look, what are some potential landmines that you may have? Every congregation has got a few. They don't have to be like major league, but every congregation's got a couple. What are 5 attributes, qualities, skills, capacities you're seeking and in your next clergy partner? And what I'm writing here is, don't say you want a good preacher, a faithful pastor, someone who's good with multi-generational, who'll grow the church, or administration, because those are things you know you want already. We don't want the obvious things. We want you to go deeper. What are the things that you really want to see in your next clergy partner? One of the things, a way I express it, is certainly what everybody wants in a clergy partner. When you're looking at temperament, their personality, temperament is, how would this person be with the congregational curmudgeon?
I love
You-
that
you-
word,
I do too.
curmudgeon. Do we have some?
Right
So
here.
Joking.
Okay,
No, you're not.
and then,
Sometimes.
Aren't we all?
there you go. So you got the congregational curmudgeon, and also imagining how that person would be. Anybody here not know how the Grinch Stole Christmas? Okay. You know Cindy Lou Who?
Yeah.
You wanna know that there's someone who's really good with Cindy Lou Who too. So you want someone that's got that breadth of experience. So we talk about interpersonal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who can really relate well
Right.
across the generations. It's okay, you can laugh. I do this exactly to get the laughter going, because this is intense stuff.
Certain people come right to mind.
A question that is still very much germane, we formulated this in 2020, but it is still a real question.
Yeah.
What's your experience during COVID? And you don't have to look at shutdown at this point, but you could look at, we're still, common question I'm hearing among plenty of congregations is, how are we getting the people back in?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
big time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's what are you working with together as a community in terms of what are you noticing? What's been your experience? I mean, you're all sitting here, and I hope nobody's feeling self-conscious with this.
No.
You know,
No. I brought one.
yeah, no, this is what, I've got a 91-year-old mother at home, and I'm out and about all the time. I can't bring anything home.
Right.
So
We
from
know.
that
I have a
perspective,
almost 97-year-old.
oh yeah, okay, so you
I'm
get
in
it.
trouble with my 81-year-old.
I understand.
Yes, you understand. So, but this is also the visual aid. It's a reminder of where we are. We're not out of it yet. We have people that are afraid to come back to church no matter what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and may never come back. People who have fallen out of the habit because it didn't take too long to break that Sunday habit
No, it did.
at all. And it's shocking.
It
It is shocking.
It's really shocking.
I think it's actually, for me, it's more shocking the people that did. Like, they don't come anymore. Like, they were active people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I wasn't like the people that you see, they come on Ash Wednesday maybe, or they come 5 times a year. I mean, people that came every week.
Right. Yeah, we had people that got upset because we voted as a vestry to require the parish, especially that first,
Oh,
Oh
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
that first bout with it, required them to wear masks.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, people
they,
got really
Yeah,
upset.
they didn't come.
We still have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would never blame them.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's just like, it really challenged people on so many levels, and to be able to be attentive to that. Every congregation's been a little bit different, but it's had such a profound impact.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that experience like, so that you can be really honest and accurate, because wherever the clergy person's coming from, they've already lived it where they are.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be able to frame a question to it, and what was your experience during COVID? How did you manage it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's gonna be part of the dynamic. The other piece is, what is our biggest challenge right now? And especially clergy answering this question, the vestry answering the question, what's your biggest question? And what are you doing about it? What's your biggest challenge, and are you starting to look at it? What are you doing about it? Because if you state, this is our biggest challenge, or the clergy person will ask you, what is your biggest challenge? the next question, they're interviewing you as much as you're interviewing them.
Yeah.
You say, well, what are you doing about it? So to be able to, and clergy will understand that you are searching with your rector in place.
Mm-hmm.
So that they will understand that this is a very different process. So what I'm asking all of you to do is do this exercise together. Whether you, and there are a couple of ways you can approach it. You can all got the questions, go home, spend a little time, think on it, write some answers, come together. Then find some consensus with your answers. Or do the process together. I've done it both ways. Or do the process together. And then come up with those answers. Why is this important? Because what you're going to do is, and it's almost, I should have put this up front right away. No, you do not have to create this humongous parish profile and put it on the web.
That was the hardest thing.
I should have started with
Yeah,
that,
was the
Linda.
hardest
I could
thing.
see the worry on your face. I should
Yeah,
have started
yeah.
with that. No, you don't have to do that. What you are gonna do is, on your website, you can put if you've got someone who's the webmaster, put a little tab. And you can say, is that Dave? Who's the webmaster?
No, I'm
Jane.
not the webmaster.
No.
No, I'm not.
No.
Christine,
No, I'm
Christine,
not.
Okay.
Christine, our
Parish
Our parish
administrator.
administrator,
Excellent.
we
excellent.
have another parishioner that,
So
we
you'll
just did our
determine,
website, so.
you'll determine what kind of content you want on that. And it's gonna be really simple content. So you can put you can put these 5 big things. You can put some responses up there, and we'll show you how to tweak that so it'll look real nice. You put the responses up there. This is who we are. This is what we're looking for in our next clergy partner. You hear me using the word partner? Because it's not about father says or mother says, it's about a partnership. So that would be one piece on the profile. Another piece is someone get a cell phone, take some pictures of the area, the sanctuary, the meeting space, rectory, take some pictures, get them up as part of your profile. Put up just a little you've got someone who's a good historian here, just a little bit about your parish history.
Yeah, I think we already have that.
Just really simple, we're not talking, this is not major league.
I'm trying to remember where it's probably,
It's like, who are we?
yeah, it's on there.
Okay,
It's on there.
good, so you just make sure you have a little bit there. What you do wanna put on there is, for the Chamber of Commerce for this area, cause this way someone who's searching from outside the diocese could go to that link and learn about this area. Cause here I am, I'm saying, well, I'm going to Trenton, and I go to Trenton at least once a week, if not more. And I'm used to going the other route, I'm taking 29, here I am taking I-95 East, 195 East. And it told me, by the way, the GPS told me I had reached my destination about 1,000 yards before I reached my destination.
Yes.
It's
And on
not
Saturday,
accurate.
there was a lady who came for our soup sale, said the same thing.
Mhm.
It had her way out.
And I just said, oh no, oh
Yeah.
no. And thank heavens for your Holy Apostles sign on the road, because it caught cause I was saying, all right, I have to do what I call a Brooklyn Huey. I was gonna turn around
Yeah.
and figure it out from there and make a phone call. And when I saw the sign, I said, I'm here. And I was like, cause you can't see it coming around the
Yeah,
bend.
it's so far
Yeah.
back off the,
It's
we
so-
don't have,
Yeah.
we don't have curb appeal, that's the tricky part about, you don't have the drive-by people that pick up that you notice it's a church that you're driving by, so we don't have that here.
Yeah, and so that's something that is something certainly to consider, and
And
that's
part
an
of that,
interesting
I have to
conversation.
say, is the township's fault.
Yeah, because they won't let us.
Because they wouldn't let us put the sign closer to the road, They wouldn't let us change the lighting
Right,
on it.
remember?
We
Yeah.
just replaced our sign not that long ago.
Wow, so, yeah, and
Hamilton Township was kinda hostile.
They don't like us.
I.
They don't
I-
like us.
Yeah, well, they wanna, why? Because it's gonna detract from the farm
Exactly.
across the road? Really,
Right.
give me a
No,
break.
it would distract people driving, that's why.
Maybe they'd slow down.
Well, that's what they told us.
I was gonna say, every other church in this township has, you know,
LED signs.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, that's an interesting thing, and I'm gonna tell you where you could actually use that as a conversation when you're interviewing, cause that's a very interesting piece, but give them that sense. So if they have a chamber of commerce, so you can see that, so they can get a sense of, well, if I'm coming here with kids or living around here, what is that like? So that, all you have to do is just put the URL
Okay.
onto here, that's all you need to do, just the URL. Do you normally put your financial or your annual report on your website at some point?
No.
No,
We haven't before, no.
That's okay. What I'm gonna ask you to do is, when you're putting your package together, you will send that to me electronically. Because when a clergy is interested, I can send that to them.
Okay.
That'll be part of the package they can have.
So that would be out of like our annual parish meeting?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So once you've done your work on the 5 big questions, you're gonna take it out and lead a conversation with the congregation on the 5 big questions. Okay? So you actually engage them, just have a coffee hour. This can take about, depending on the size of how many people will stay, you'll probably get this done in about 90 minutes. And ask them their responses. And if you want a facilitator for this, let me know and I'll see who I can assign for you. And this way they're engaged, so the whole congregation, and what we do with this is we don't tell the congregation your responses. You facilitate, you're at each table, you know how the exercise goes because you've done it together. Then you are the leader at a table to help them get it out there. We create some nice flip charts and get all that information out there. And then you start coming to consensus. And the reason you don't tell the congregation is because it helps you to see how aligned you are with the congregation. You're not trying to guess what they would say, but are you guys all on the same page? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This way, it's involving the whole congregation, it's giving them input into the process, input into the questions, and I will tell you that starting that first question, what's the 5 big things about us? That gets so much energy and talking going in a room. It's great. Landmines tend to throw people, but often once they grasp what we're talking about, somebody may say something and say, oh, we didn't think of that one, that's an important piece.
So would you suggest doing all 5 at the same time and having people just move around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You can do it, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can do, let's just do the 5 big things and get them all started with 5 big things. Then put that out there so everyone can hear and see what everybody else has said. Usually point one person at the table will be the captain for the table, another person will be the scribe, and you'll ask each table, come to consensus, agree with what are the 5 big things. And once that comes from all the tables and it gets put up front, you'll see how much consensus there is right away. People are gonna say the same things and that's gonna be great. Okay? All right.
I guess we do that without Canon Art there to, you don't wanna offend if they wanna change something.
Right.
You do it separate from him. That
Does
they-
Ken-
Exactly,
Does
that's-
Kenmark get any input into any of this?
No,
No.
no, which is,
Okay.
he's not gonna be involved that way. He's here, he's gonna continue as your pastor, your priest, do everything he would normally do. He's just not gonna do this thing.
Mhm.
So if you need someone to facilitate, let me know, I'll get someone to facilitate. He'll know, he said, cause he and I have already had a conversation. So, he's got something wonderful planned for a Lenten series, which I think will be perfect. But he knows he's just gonna step back and just let this be. We're gonna keep this nice little boundary, which is excellent.
Good.
Okay? Once you've got that, and the sooner you get that from the congregation, then you're pulling it together and saying, all right, here's our final answer as a church for each one of these. Here's the final answer. This is where the energy was for each of the questions. You're already halfway there in terms of what you need. Okay? So that's step 3, which is you're creating the composite responses from step 1 and 2. Questions so far?
No.
Okay. Let me know if I'm talking too fast. So,
Oh, since, we need to have a facilitator and, somebody to put things out on the website, is it possible to include our parish administrator in some of these meetings? Since she would be the one putting it out on the website.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's absolutely fine, because if she's there and she's learning and listening and putting it together, absolutely, that's not a problem.
She's fairly new here, with us, so you don't have that. I guess the good thing about that is you don't have somebody dead set on the way that the.
Partial.
This is
Yeah.
what
Canon-
we've always done.
Right,
Yeah.
it's kind of probably an open mind.
Right.
It's-
If anything, it could be a wonderful experience of the congregation getting to know her
Yeah.
and for her to know the congregation. So it actually draws her further into the community. It's a good thing.
I mean, she asked us, or didn't ask us, she told us if there was anything she could do to help. She said, I can, basically, she said, I can take the notes and whatever, and,
Perfect.
she said, I don't know if it's allowed, she said, if it isn't, that's fine, and if it is, that's good too, so.
She's right on target on a lot
She
of
is,
stuff.
yeah.
And
Great.
she knew when she got hired that Canon would be leaving.
Leave it, okay? All right.
So,
So I love to hear when someone's asking you and taking the initiative and stepping up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so somewhere in the packet, do you have this? This is the OTM profile? Was not in the packet I sent you?
that was the zip thing.
That's the zip thing.
Oh, that did not come up. on
Okay, well, I
my- You want me to run
brought,
some
Do you want me copies?
it's 5 pages. Can you do that? I can talk to you about it. What do you wanna do?
Do
Well, the copy is right here. Let's put the copier to work.
If I even approach it, it will wake up.
Yeah, it does, it scares you.
Yeah.
You walk in,
You okay?
So while that's copying, the next step is formulating the responses to the OTM profile. OTM is shorthand for Office of Transition Ministry. What Office of Transition Ministry is, it's a national database. All clergy have access to this database. We all have passwords, we all have access to the database. So when clergy are looking for a new call, so let's say, and it's national, so it's the whole Episcopal Church. So if they're looking for a new call, they say, well, I'm interested in New Jersey. So they look up New Jersey, they say, how many congregations are looking? Oh, okay. Then they click that, and it immediately sends them to every congregation we have posted for the diocese. And so they can now start looking through. So that's what the database is. So that's how clergy are going to find out. It's one of the ways clergy are going to find out about you. That's one way. There are other ways, I'll talk about that later. The questions that you will need to respond to, the clergy has the same, it's 12 questions, the clergy has the same 12 questions. So do I like the questions? No. Do I really think that it's like, could it be better? Yes, and so does most clergy and most people, we all agree on this, but they haven't done anything with it yet. We're hoping someday they will. But there's 12 questions, you answer, 12 questions, they answer. Those questions help to see from the beginning how well you're aligned with each other. They can say, oh, this is what they're doing, this is what I did, I'm interested. So they look at that. What I'm going to recommend, actually, I'm just going to strongly say, you work on the profile together.
Thank you.
And you come up, however you want to do that, you work on answers, whether you want to divide the questions if someone has an interest one way or another. You work on the questions. When it comes to the final copy, one writer. And if you've got someone, because each question is limited, it's 1,200 characters, and that includes spaces and grammar. In other words, not a lot. You've got to really have a compelling, quick story. It's like the parallel would be in the New York Times, in an op-ed page. You've got to get everything up in the first 2 paragraphs. Whatever comes after that is gingerbread. But you gotta get the first 2 paragraphs of the real detail, so you have to tell that compelling story right away. So you want someone, and this could be someone outside the vestry, someone in your congregation who's got a good skill as an editor-writer, who can take everything you've pulled together. You should all be thinking about this. Do we have somebody here who can do that? And put it all together so there's one hand, because clergy know when more than one person has written an answer. I know, and I will kick it back to you because I've done that. And it's like, you had too many people writing this, please find one person to do the writing. And even then I may go back and edit again and say, well, okay, you got one person, but you could do a little here, you could do a little there, and I'll make some recommendations. So you want to be able to have someone, so it's already, when it's coming to me, you have one hand. Because when clergy see there's more than one hand in it, they're saying, they're not paying attention to those little details. They want to see that there's some unity there. When that is completed, there's also going to be a shorter form, and I'm not going to ask Jane to do this. You can do this at another time. There'll be a short form, and it's called, this is for the Transitional Conference website. And this goes up in just like a one-pager in another place. That's the second way I'm going to post your position open. So that's way number 2. And it just asks questions like, is this half-time, free, full-time? Is it urban, suburban, rural? Health benefits, yeah, the health benefits are, it's not even an option. Do you have Sunday school, what's your average attendance? One of the things, Art is gonna need, and he can do with you, or do for you, is get you the parochial reports.
He's already been working on it.
Yeah, but just
Cause the next one is due in March, so that'll be great, you'll have a nice
Yeah.
fresh parochial report.
started.
Parochial report, annual budget, but parochial report, you're gonna need certain things from the budget, from the parochial report, you'll need this on this form. And I'm leaving this with you.
Okay.
Okay? This gets posted, at another website that clergy go to and can look for postings for positions.
Okay.
So there's two ways now, you see that I'm saying we can put your name out there. When we open the search, it means that you've got your mini profile on your website that's live and up. You've got the OTM that I've posted. This is posted, your search is open. I've been leaving the search open, typically it's been for 30 days. I've been extending it to 45 days for some situations. I'm expecting 30 days is gonna be fine for you, but if you want me to open it up for full 6 weeks, I will. I can do either way, it's no big deal. I can also reopen it if I don't get enough candidates for you. I will tell you that already, one clergy person was wondering, so we already have one priest who's interested in interviewing with you. I honestly do not think you're gonna have any trouble. Your difficulty may be, who do we want, because we have a few to choose from. There are some other clergy had asked me, and I said, until things are public, I can't say anything yet. But this is perfectly open to the congregation knows, everybody knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, this way I can share that news. We also ask clergy, if you know of any clergy that are looking. If any of you know of someone, if you run into someone or heard about someone that might be a good fit here, have them contact me, okay? Then I will have my conversation with them and get their materials. How this works is once it's open, the clergy person, it'll say, you need to send me your OTM profile, they need to send me their resume, respond to the 10 questions for the Diocese of New Jersey, and a cover letter to you. So it's the material. What they do is they send me an email of interest. I tell them these are the things I need from you, and get back to me. And then they'll give it to me, and then I create. So Betty, you're gonna learn a lot about zip files.
Computer
You're
won't
gonna learn
open.
a lot about zip files. So, Linda, are you okay with zip files?
I've not tried it, but I'm sure my husband has.
Okay, so we gotta, because what happens is that all the material each clergy person sends me, I create a little file with their name on it. I make a zip file out of it because it travels better. It compresses
Okay.
the data, so it goes, it can be sent a lot easier. It's easier to do that than start sending you 10
You can
emails.
do that?
It's probably your computer just doesn't trust what you're receiving, I'm guessing,
Yeah,
it's like a
that could
security
be.
measure
Mhm.
that it's saying,
That you
Just
need a
don't trust this,
password, or you're
because there's a
not
lot of zip
gonna-
files
you
that can
won't let
hide
me do it.
viruses, but obviously you trust what's coming.
I think you need to put Hal to
I
rest.
don't know if I have like a zip,
I don't know what
you
the
know,
program
like
is to open
yeah,
them.
like a WinZip or whatever that would open that.
Most
I'll have to
Microsoft
try it.
computers automatically open them.
Yeah, they open it.
But you have to go through, that firewall is gonna say, don't trust this, please
Because
don't
you've
open
never
it,
gotten it before, that's correct.
Right,
That could be.
yeah.
And that could, David's a good
You
point,
could
it
try
could
to
be.
send one to me.
And
I
I
should
do
be able to
not,
open it. I have Microsoft.
I do not encrypt them, so you don't
Oh,
have to
okay.
worry about encryption, so that's not there.
Okay.
Well, maybe you should.
No
do
password, no
They're
encryption.
just zipped
Canon,
It's just
to compress the data. Okay.
Canon Izzo, your email address?
Yeah, I can do that. I open them all the time at work, so
Yeah, it
I
should,
don't know now that
it
I'm
should-
retired.
when you-
might forget.
when you open it,
Yeah.
the way the zip file is structured is when you open it, you see a file within it. And then you open that file,
Yeah.
and then it opens up to all the sub-files.
Yeah. But at work, everything was always encrypted and
Yeah.
secured. And,
'Cause everything that I brought with me today is in the zip file. There's a little bit more in the zip file as well, but I brought the essentials that you need, okay? Questions so far? Alright. So the next place I wanna talk to you about what I do in terms of looking. So I already told you there are two places, the OTM and the transition ministry. I asked other clergy, they'll see it up. You're all out there with your antenna up if you hear of somebody. Clergy may ask me. We have a transition ministers conference twice a year, and in between we have little mini conferences on Zoom. So the last one we had was January 11th. Couple of clergy bubbled up. I reached out to one right away. If that's not a fit for that, the person is interviewing with one of our other open congregations right now. I said, if it's not a fit, let me know. We've got other things happening here you may really be interested in. So I also, if other clergy are curious or I notice, I will go out and look. So there's a little bit, this is with the clergy shortage, this is part of what you need to do, is be a little aggressive. It's like, I've never been in sales before. But it's kind of attracting
Assertive.
attention. So attracting attention, if I see someone that's got some skills or might be interested or a good match, then I'm going to invite them and see if they'd like to have a conversation with you. So that's another way we do this. Sometimes bishops hear of somebody. And bishop may say, so-and-so is interested in coming in the diocese. Okay, fine. Let's see what we can do. And in this past week, I've spoken with, last week, I spoke with 3 clergy who are all interested in coming into the Diocese of New Jersey. One was actually originally from the Diocese of Newark and is coming home because that's where family is. One who is a son of this diocese who has been ordained here and wants to come back. Another one who wants to move in this direction because it's close to the family. So, and all 3 of them, when I interview, because I do an interview with them, and then if I like what I see in the interview, then I'll call their canon. And I've told the bishop, I said, I just interviewed, we gotta keep them, we gotta find a place for these, because they're good priests. So,
Are they young, can I ask? How old are these people?
all of them are pretty young.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them are pretty young. They have, 3 of the 4 have kids. But just real wholesome. So, we want to, are you concerned with young, not young?
Oh, no, I'm
no.
just
That's
curious.
fine, that's okay.
We don't
I
care.
don't think.
So certainly
Okay,
with,
no.
I'm just gonna be practical in terms of when we do the compensation package, so when I'm posting it, medical insurance is a non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a family, you're offering the full package. The cost right now of full family, we're all seated, the cost for full family with medical, dental, the basic, is about between $43,000 and $45,000. it's more than, it could almost be for some clergy more than their cash compensation. It's really, the church as a whole is in the national church. We're all in a conversation about, this is crazy. And it's much more expensive here in the Northeast than it is in other places. It's crazy. We know it's a big ticket item. Clergy don't even feel good about it. But right now, it's what we're working with. So understand that that could be part of your package, you know, if you've got family. While I'm talking about clergy with family, because some clergy may come to you without family, or they've raised their family, or they're in college. Often what congregations are saying, we need a priest with family because we want to grow families. We want to be able to get the children's ministry, the family ministry going. That's a good way of doing it. It's one way of doing it. And what I want to just offer to you is you don't need a priest with children. You need a priest who's good with children.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's a huge difference. So that's just to keep it open. Because I've seen plenty of situations where there are priests that don't have kids that are just so fantastic with kids. They're a magnet in a healthy way for kids.
We're teachers, former
Yeah.
elementary teachers, we understand.
Okay, so you understand. Great. Once we get this launched, one of the things that you're gonna do, once we're up and launched, which means you'll be receiving names. So when I get a name, I read through their material. And you're going to, when you get it, there'll be other things you'll do. I'll read through their material. I will call my counterpart, which would be the transition officer in whatever diocese they're coming from. And we have what's called a red flag check. Are there any red flags with this clergy? Is there anything that's come up to your knowledge as they've been there or what they came in with that would send up a red flag that I should not put this person forward? And often when we have this conversation, we will also, one or the other, depending on if I'm answering questions or they're answering questions, we'll say, tell me about the congregation that you're looking to place them. Where are they applying? Tell me about the congregation. From that perspective, because then they could say, oh yeah, that's similar to what they're doing now and they're doing a bang up job. Or it's similar to a place where they had a problem and then tell me about the problem. That also helps me to understand temperament, because temperament's essential, okay? Once we've gone through that, and one of the things I'm hoping to do is, because this is an accelerated process, is actually have the bishop make bishop-to-bishop calls before you get the names. So we've done all of the vetting before you get the names. Because there isn't a search committee, you're doing all the work. So normally, if you had a discernment committee and they were ready to hand names off to you, they would first give me the names. I would tell the bishop, okay, here are the 3 names, please make the bishop-to-bishop calls. And he'll tell me, because sometimes a bishop will know something he has not shared, he or she has not shared with their transition officer. And if they do, then our bishop tells me yes or no. And sometimes I get reports like, bishop would really be sorry to lose this person and had so many wonderful things to say. So that helps. Once you get that, because I'm not gonna have time to do this, and it's really would if you had a discernment committee, they would be doing it. On their reference, they'll all have their last page of their OTM. You have that with you? You all have that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So. This is yours. Oh, you don't have this piece. Okay, sorry, I should have brought a clergy one with me. No wonder it wasn't there. No, you don't have it on yours. It's the clergy. One of their pages will be a reference page.
Yeah, we
It'll
have
have,
the
no,
reference.
that's the
Okay.
connections. That's what you fill out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. So for clergy, their parallel is no, that's you. That's just another way I spread it out for you. So they will list first their bishop, then their transition officer. So if it was clergy from this diocese, it'll be William Stokes, it'll be Joanne Izzo, and then it'll say other references, other people you have worked with in ministry, people who know you that can be clergy or lay. Your responsibility is to go through those references and make the reference phone calls, because something could come up that nobody knew about. More than likely not. We will also make sure that the clergy, when they're sending this to me, I will be telling them. You will be calling their references, have they informed their wardens? Because generally warden is on as a reference. Okay? We are in,
Usually they share why they're leaving or why they're looking to change.
you can ask that,
places?
you can
Yeah.
ask that question. That's a question, it's like, you know, why moving now, why do you wanna come here? Ask this couple of questions. What about Holy Apostles attracts you? Why are you looking at this point? Why are you looking to move where you are? Some clergy, I will tell you, when I've had some conversations, even in the last week, I've had canons say, they've done everything they need to do where they are. They need to be moving on to another cure. Part of this is the days of, how long has Art Pal been here?
Oh my God.
30 years.
30
at least
years?
30 years,
Right.
more, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, probably more.
yeah.
Alright. Those days are gone.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I was a kid.
Yeah,
Well,
there you go. That's
yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. He's the priest you've known.
Yeah.
And for many in the congregation, he will be the only priest they knew.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
30 years, we're talking a generation and a half.
Yep.
The only priest they
Yep.
knew. So,
Prior to that, we had a swinging door for a while,
okay.
For a little while.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did
Well, I was
too.
gonna say, well, for us, it was every five.
Yeah.
Every
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New
we-
priest.
And where trends are right now in the church is priests generally somewhere between 5 and 7 years. They're going in, they're doing something, and even their canons, and I don't kind of abide by that. You know, I'd like a little bit more stability. You know, I've had some canons tell me, I'm telling the priest, or the bishop is telling the priest, they've been there long enough, and it's just like, wow, that's not an answer. So I'm not quite in that, so understand.
That's like
But-
telling we were teachers, we're older, you know, we taught 35 years or whatever.
Yeah.
We were still as good as these young ones that are coming along, don't tell
We
me.
were
And probably a
better.
damn sight better.
Yes.
Better.
So usually 7 years, 12 years, 12 years is great. Generally, if they stay 7 years, they're gonna take a sabbatical. There's an expression, after 7 years, you do a sabbatical, you're either coming back with a new reinvigorated mission and ministry with the congregation, or you're gonna get ready to leave. So that's like that sabbatical moment, really stepping back and looking. So you want to see that. You'll see that. So you'll see some clergy, especially with younger clergy. There was an article I was reading, I think, on Inc., which was specifically about Gen Z, that they move around a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they keep moving because it's looking to improve their situation one way or the other. So,
Opportunities for growth,
yeah,
and they're not afraid to do it.
No.
no,
I tell my grandchildren all the time, it's like, I admire that, somebody that worked for 36 years in basically the same place, that they have no fear of change of jobs,
No,
they
they
just
don't.
do it at the drop of the hat. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm tired here, I'm sick of it, I'm
yeah,
not getting
time to move
anywhere,
on. Right.
I leave."
I
Like,
couldn't
don't you worry about like
imagine
paying the
doing
electric
that.
bill?
Yeah,
No,
somebody
they
make
don't.
the windows.
Which is, you know, it's amazing.
It is amazing, it's like just a special quality that
It's
they have that.
well, it's either faith or foolishness, one or the other. So
It is kind of like astounding.
Yeah.
I guess I grew up in a generation where you got a job and you just
And
stayed
you
That
with
was
stayed
it.
there.
Exactly.
That's what we did.
And that's important because that is a generational attitude that's different and needs to be negotiated. If you do end up calling a younger clergy person, the first thing you're going to need to be aware of is they come at things so differently
Mhm.
than you know, okay.
I
So
guess it's all even.
the way we're looking at things.
There is a lot of gray around this table.
Yeah.
No offense, anybody.
Hey, I earned it all.
Yeah.
I cover it.
I gave that up during COVID.
Yep. Forget
The
it.
heck with that.
It's natural. God gave it to me. Can
Oh,
stay
naturel.
Oh.
So, what you're going to do is once we open up the search, either I or somebody else will work with you on developing STAR interviewing questions. The interviewing questions, we use the STAR method, which is actually, it's behavioral based interviewing. Nope, that's on my handouts too, Betty. It's in the handouts. So it's behavioral based interviewing. And I'm just gonna tell you about it, you're gonna be able to read about it. Okay, cause I've got, again, it's in the zip folder, it's here live. So, the question STAR is a mnemonic. S stands for situation. You're gonna develop questions. You know, St. Swithin's by the Swamp had this really great project going with our confirmation class, developing backpacks for folks who were in the homeless. So we created backpacks. But now that they've been confirmed, and many have left, because that's what happens. The Holy Spirit seems to move them out, whatever it is. And it's a really great ministry, and we don't want to, this is actually a question a congregation I work with formulated. We don't want to lose them, we don't want to lose this ministry. And you can say, could you tell us a situation you were in that was similar, if not the same? What was your task? The T. What action did you take, and what were the results? So you're not asking them theory, you're not asking them to quote from the latest book that's hot off the press on how to do missional church. You're saying, tell us what you did, and you're also going to tell them, and the results, we don't care if it flopped. We just want to know, what was the results, what did you learn? So you're actually asking them for real experience. That helps you to separate those who are inexperienced from those who are experienced, those who are going to try and talk their way through, because you know, we're preachers, so we can talk a good game. So you want
Everybody can.
Everybody
I
can.
assure
So you want to be able to hear where it's boots on the ground. Sometimes clergy will say, I didn't do something like that, but I think I have something parallel to what you're suggesting. Let me tell you what I did. And then you can figure out if it's a parallel or not. If clergy also can feel comfortable enough, and I've been what I call a practice dummy for other congregations and other dioceses, we'll say, we want to test the questions out on you, and I'm going to get a priest for you to do that. We want to test the questions out and how we interview together. So, if they ask me a question I didn't have experience with, I'd say, I don't have any experience for that question. And so what they saw was I was willing to be very honest and very vulnerable in that moment and say, I haven't encountered the situation you're describing. And so sometimes some congregation might say, some vestries might say, well, is there any, I said, well, there is something that would be a parallel if we're drilling down. Do you want to hear that? Yeah, okay. So it becomes a dialogue now. Once you've had those, so while people are submitting names, you're going to be developing questions, and you're going to do a practice. You're going to get your clergy person to do a practice interview with. Okay? And they know it's going to be a practice, and they're also going to ask questions of you. Questions so far?
Bless you.
Bless
Thank
you.
you.
The first interview is a Zoom interview. 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. You're going to tell them, we're going to just ask you some basic questions. It's a getting to know you interview. Because if you get a lot of names, you don't want to do they don't all want to be finalists. You might not want all of them. You want 2 or 3 solid ones. And I'd say if you can get 3 as finalists, that's good, just in case.
Yep.
Because clergy are going to be in a lot of other searches, and things are moving fast. So you want to be able to be very proactive with them. So when that first Zoom meeting, if you're getting a good feel for them, you ask questions related to their OTM profile. Ask them something that got you curious about them. Something that was a strength for them, so they're starting in a relaxed, you want to relax them. So it's a strength-based question. You'll talk a little bit about their profile. You'll ask them, that's a good time to ask them, so what interests you about Holy Apostles? You know, or why? That's a good time. It's a getting to know you. It's a soft interview. You'll give them 15 minutes. So that's why I say it's about 45 minutes. 30 minutes for your questions, 15 minutes for their questions. You'll give them an opportunity to ask some very basic light questions. They'll know this before you meet with them. You can record those Zoom interviews if not everybody is present or can be present, preferably that all vestry can be present. But we know the reality of trying to get everybody in the room on a common night is a challenge. So you tell them in advance, you tell them in the email, we are going to record this session for the purposes of the vestry members who are not here, and for us to review again together in our own discernment process. If you don't tell them, I've had to correct some vestries saying, you can't just tell someone after you've said hello, and by the way, I'm hitting the record button, and I've actually corrected a vestry. Do not do that. That's a violation of rights. So people need to know in advance what you're doing and why you're doing it. That makes for already setting at ease. It makes for comfort. They know that you know what you're doing. You're being very clear and transparent with them up front, and they know what the purpose of the recording is. We are not recommending visitations. Several reasons. One, the most practical reason is, has everyone come back to church here? No. And if I showed up on Sunday in something other than my collar, and I showed up on Sunday, would everybody know there's a new person in church?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So that's why we're not doing in person, because everyone's gonna know. And if 2 or 3 of you went the way it used to be, probably Dave when
It
you
was,
did it,
yep,
you went 2 or
Yep.
3?
Yep.
And there's a great cartoon by Jay Seibotham. I don't know if you've ever seen it. He's the one that does the, I don't see his calendar up here. There he is, there's his
Yeah.
calendar.
Is that his
So-
calendar?
Yeah,
we
that's
love
his
those.
calendar.
Yeah, they're fun.
So
Yeah, they're
Jay
fun.
Seibotham years ago created, and he titled it The Search Committee. And 3 people sitting in a pew in a church, all together, very bunched up, with a brown paper bag over their head. And it's like, yeah, it's that obvious.
Yeah.
So, and having been on a search committee and done that, I totally, yeah, I get it. So, but the blessing is that's the downside. The positive side is, with very rare exception, every congregation is either on Facebook, live streaming, YouTube Live. So in all likelihood, you will be able to find, that particular clergy person by their congregation on their website, on Facebook, or on YouTube Live, YouTube channel. So you're actually going to be able to see. That's definitely cheaper than the price of gas at this point. So you can do that. And you can do that together. Or you can do it separately, and then you can talk about what you discovered. They will send you videos or an audio of their sermon, of their preaching. That'll be on their OTM, and it'll be a link, and you click the link and it'll open it up. So that saves time, just doing that. Saves a lot of time and effort. Back in the day, you would hear canons for transition saying, don't Google them. Well, really?
Are you kidding me? I
Exactly.
Google everybody.
Exactly. So,
Not you guys.
and I don't have time to Google clergy, but it'll be one of the things. Don't stalk, but definitely take a look at what's on Google. And I will tell you very transparently, I was on a search committee, and I know the canon was saying don't Google, and I said, no, I think, and I was the one that was really good with the computer, so I started to poke around. So, I know you're gonna do it. They know you're going to do it. If they don't know you're going to do it, and they've got something that doesn't belong to them, well, it's shame on them. Okay? We've had that conversation among clergy. If we're in a very public world, social media is very public. Think before you hit enter.
Post.
Yeah.
Think before you hit post. Think before you hit send. Think.
It never goes away.
Yeah.
Not really.
I have a friend of mine that uses the next Tuesday rule. Next Tuesday rule is there's something I really, really want to post because it's really got me aggravated. I'll write it up and not do anything about it until next Tuesday. And amazing how many things you decide don't need to be posted when you do that.
Delete.
Yep. So, that'll be part of what you do. That'll be part of your work. Now, so far this all sounds pretty okay.
So far.
Great.
It's a heck of a difference from the old days.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I told you, Dave, this is gonna sound a lot different. Wait, fasten your seatbelt. Here comes the next part.
Okay.
As quickly as you can get this done, we are on January 25th today.
Yep.
Technically, if you put in the work you need to put in and work with the vestry, and you really kind of dig in, you can be ready to go live for a search at the end of February if you wanted to. A month. the way the timeline works is that if you can get this up in 4 to 6 weeks, that means the search is open. I'm already gonna be soliciting names anyway, even though you're not ready, I'm gonna be soliciting names. From clergy that I know that may be interested. If you're ready to open in a month, then we post in a month. If you're ready to open in 6 weeks, we post in 6 weeks. I'm looking at the time frame also from the perspective of getting you to be able to at least complete Zoom interviews before Holy Week. Because Zoom interview will be doable during Lent. But in person is not going to be doable for the average clergy during the season of Lent, and certainly nothing's happened Holy Week to Easter week. You may be ready to do in persons for Easter week, because often clergy have that week off and say, yeah, this is a good time to gear down, I can come do something like that. Okay? For clergy, and this way, when you're looking at Easter week, you know, somewhere in there starting to do your drill downs for if you've had your Zoom interviews, and you can start discerning who do we want to, maybe 3 or 4 candidates, who do we want to look at, and then from there come down to your final choices. If you could have that done before Easter, then you know after Easter you can start interviewing, the in-person interviews. If they're from outside the diocese, and this is a budget issue, so if they're from outside the diocese, you're going to need to, Dave, this is the same.
Yep.
You've got to, if they need to fly in, you're going to fly them in, you're going to have to put them up in a hotel. Hotel and accommodations, they may come if they have family, they may come with family, and we're going to talk about logistics, because happy clergy spouse means happy clergy. Okay, happy kids and happy clergy parents mean happy priest. So you want that. So, and some will do that, they'll bring their family with them. That's for the end piece, that's what you're going to look at. So you need to build that into the budget. The other thing you need to build into the budget, have you had your annual meeting yet?
This Sunday.
This Sunday.
Okay, so you have your proposed budget, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think I may have gone through this when we met with all of you, with the
Yes.
bishop. So just to review, have you put a budget line in for search?
No,
We put a budget line in for moving,
Good. How much did you put in?
10,000.
Okay, I'm gonna suggest that you be prepared to up that. Why? Because if they come, depending on how far they come, right now, between the movers, the industry itself, the moving industry itself, its costs have gone up to 15 and 20,000. And I will tell you that one clergy person from the Diocese of New Jersey within the last 6 months moved to another diocese in the tri-state area, and the moving bill was $37,000.
Oh my God.
And they did not have antiques or a
I was gonna say,
piano.
is that it? There's a piano, I mean,
There's no piano, no antiques, and no crystal.
wow.
And no one with a pickup truck.
Right.
We have them in
Exactly.
our, we have that.
So-
We can do that.
Ernie's
So-
always called to move something.
So what I'm gonna recommend you do is, if your budget can bear it, or if you can be prepared to know that you may need to move money from pot A to pot B, just be prepared for that. Yeah, it's insane. It was insane. And the canon, I know the canon in the other diocese, he's like, holy cow, we just had a priest take the congregation to the cleaners and they didn't start on day 1 yet. And it was just like, yeah. Also, they have to get 3 bids.
Okay.
You choose You choose the bid.
For moving.
Yeah, for moving. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like totally insane. So that's the most extreme. That went out on the whole, we have a Google group for all the diocesan ministers, and that went on the Google group. I can't tell you how many emails she got in sympathy. So, yeah. So those are the things you'll need to be attentive to.
Hopefully we don't have to move somebody from Seattle or, across country.
California.
Yeah.
Right.
They,
Right, and I don't think that's gonna be the case,
yeah.
because the clergy I've been speaking with are pretty close by. You know, it's not gonna be a major event. And obviously nobody from outside the United States, we can't do that. As one vestry said very cleverly, maybe we should just have them go through Mexico and then they can get in.
Oh, please.
So from that perspective, that's where it is. We're looking, Art's last day is
May 7th.
May 7th. So you may need supply for a bit. We're gonna get you
We
really
budgeted
close.
for that.
And you have a rectory here, correct?
No.
No.
You don't?
No,
Okay. So that's gonna be part of your housing and,
Yep.
that would
That's
be,
gonna be
yeah,
housing
negotiated, I assume.
okay. So that's, the reason it's important to know, because when there is a situation where there's a rectory, we generally need a lap of at least a month,
Right,
so that vestry can come in and just get the
Yeah.
place prepared, so you don't have that.
we don't.
So his last Sunday is May 7th, and I'm gonna put on my calendar, I will be out here on May 14th for that Sunday. I will celebrate on that Sunday.
Okay.
So
Okay.
custom I have is the first Sunday after the priest leaves, I come in, just as a being present with the congregation, reassuring everybody, God bless, reassuring everybody, because we don't know where your process will be, but no matter what. And then we will start looking at some, if you need further Sunday supply, we'll look at that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right with you?
We put extra supply money in case there was a gap,
Yeah, if there's a
into
gap,
the budget, yeah.
yeah, good.
Okay, you will be here on May 14th.
Mhm.
However, that's a Sunday, and we normally have a Saturday
Okay.
service.
Okay.
And then 2 on Sunday.
All right.
Do we need to change that?
Why, we're really hoping that this is gonna be a short turnaround.
No, I mean for you
No,
personally.
so I'll be out Saturday night, and then
Okay.
do Saturday evening, and then 2 on Sunday.
Okay.
We do the whole job.
You know what, it's funny because I was thinking, I don't even know what brought her to mind, but I was thinking of, oh gosh, Reverend,
Nancy?
no, not
Joanne?
Nancy, Joanne.
Oh, yeah.
Joanne Edley Schmidt.
She's
She,
wonderful.
that woman, God sent her to us because our interim that we had told me, came to my house and told me that she was done in 2 weeks. And this was Thanksgiving that she told me
My
this.
goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the phone, I'm not sure how long, when I finally, you know, I had the not the interims, but the, supplies. And I was so tired of being shot down by most of these people that I said, that's it, I'm just gonna do an email. And that's what I did, and she called me and she said, you know, I'm looking at this, and she said, my first thought was, you know, I can't do this, and then she said, I read it again, and she said, and I could not let your parish not have Christmas. And she was the sweetest woman, and I don't know whether she's still,
She's in Trinity Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay.
She is.
She's still
Oh.
around.
Mm-hmm.
She's in
No.
Trinity Princeton.
This was when we had problems with St. Matthias. Was not here.
No.
No, it wasn't here,
No,
no,
we're from St.
no. But, it was just, she was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So, if we could get somebody like her to, you know,
She's
even
not-
just, I know, no, but I'm just saying, even as if we need a sub for a while.
Mhm.
You know, somebody that isn't just gonna come and, I mean, we had one of our parishioners, grandson was going into the military, and,
Do you want me to go turn the heater?
I'm
it's
okay.
cold. I'm warm, it's weird. Anyway.
Yeah, you're always cold.
She had the boy come down and prayed over him and then made all of us get up and come up to the front. I mean, there were tears all over the place.
We still
But
live
she
there.
was just,
Beautiful.
she was wonderful, wonderful.
So we'll keep that in mind. Hopefully you won't need supply too long, but if you do. And we have other clergy that, or actually we have probably 2 or 3 that are gonna be ordained in May.
Oh.
We're really, priests ordained, so. Yeah, and then we're working on, right now, I'm working on where we can find situations for them, so if they're available.
What
And
happened
we-
with,
So how does that,
Doug,
I'm
right?
sorry,
Or-
go ahead.
Yeah, what, was Doug that was here, right, with
Yeah.
us?
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know what, I forget his last name.
He's
He
in
just took a
California.
place in California.
Yeah.
Oh, he's out that way.
down in
Yeah.
California.
Yeah,
San Diego.
just recently.
February
Okay.
Yeah, February 1st he starts, I know, we all
We were all
waited
hoping.
too long, I guess, I don't know,
So-
but, you know what, I'm happy for him, because it sounds like it's a nice
nice fit.
fit for him.
Yeah, well, he might get
So,
tired of the earthquakes and the floods.
fires, the floods.
Not San Diego.
You never know.
San Diego's beautiful.
Oh, be quiet.
I've never been to San
Burst
Diego.
my bubble.
It's one of the few places in California.
We
I've
can
never-
hope.
I was gonna say, my sister-in-law lived in California for, I don't know, 10 years or so. And she said, I never felt even a tremor. She said, I came home and there was an earthquake in New Jersey, she said,
We've had earthquakes.
Yeah.
Track.
Fast
Yeah, we
question,
Yeah, go ahead.
just out of curiosity, that's all. We're about to get a new bishop in our diocese,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
That was a
This is a great program you put together. Is there any possibility that the new bishop might have different ideas?
There's always a possibility a new bishop is gonna have other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Is also the possibility the new bishop will be very prudent and say, I'm new here, I'm not gonna mess with anything for the first 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Right.
Which
Hopefully
means
we've
we're
learned our
doing
lesson on
this.
that.
There you
The
go.
new bishop gets consecrated on June 24th, so our goal
Yeah,
is to get this done.
well, things happen.
Yeah, that's our goal is to get it done,
Uh-huh.
but it's,
I was thinking that
anything,
too, though.
anything can happen with a new bishop.
Yeah.
And we'll just see, we'll take it from there. They're also, again, they have to, I don't know what their temperament will be, I can't answer for that.
Yeah,
But right now, we're working the process. We wouldn't wanna say, we're all the way at this point in the process, why would you then make a left turn?
well, that's true,
Yeah,
but there's always a possibility.
there's always,
Yeah.
Dave,
I
you're
worked
absolutely
in
right.
industry all my life, and I've seen changes like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah,
Government's no
yep.
different.
yeah, and,
Who's
and
teaching?
you know, you're 100%, Dave, you're 100% right, so the
Yep.
reality is what we're gonna do is, we're gonna move forward with this process. Obviously, whoever the new bishop comes in, they're gonna have a conversation with me, I'm gonna be explaining what I do, why I do it, how I do it.
Mhm.
But they can say, no, I don't like it, and it's like, okay, fine, you wanna go back to the long method, when we have a clergy shortage, so. And a
So-
shortage of interim, so
Yeah.
we'll do what we can. One thing I have told various congregations that have asked me that, is like, in as much as it's up to me, I'm up there as really the gatekeeper
Yes,
to defend the process for all the congregations right now,
okay.
okay?
Yeah, great idea.
So just looping back to supply, even though Canon Art's last Sunday is May 7th, he won't actually be retired until the end of June?
He's taking terminal leave,
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
okay?
yeah, I think it might be, cause he's doing, I think
He's
his,
doing a thing.
well, yeah, but his, I think he is gonna be taking his
Sabbatical?
vacation too in
Right,
right.
July.
Then he'd have
I
a
think it's gonna
sabbatical.
be.
Mhm.
So,
So there's no issue there about having that overlap of technically he hasn't retired, but
No.
we've got a new call? Okay.
Right, that's because we're calling it terminal leave, because
Okay.
he's taking his vacation time, so that's terminal leave, so there's no,
Okay,
no
I just
problem
wanna
with
make
that.
But I guess we still pay him for
Right,
those
right,
last,
because-
so we
so
have an
we'd be
overlap on
paying
paying.
Two
Right.
Yeah.
at the same time.
Exactly. Once you've made the call, then, the wardens, your treasurer, myself, and, Pat Hawkins, we all meet together with the priest and we do a letter of agreement.
Okay.
Once you've chosen who you want, what you're gonna let me do, you're gonna let me know, we've made our selection, and I'm gonna ask you who, you're going to send an email to Bishop Stokes, there's a form that you complete. The vestry has elected to call so-and-so as the next priest. The bishop is gonna ask one question, and he'll call the wardens, he'll call either one of you or both, and he'll say, was it unanimous or near unanimous? So near unanimous means only one person who disagreed. But the preference is unanimous.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the one thing that the bishop wants to know, okay?
Okay.
And then the bishop makes the call to the priest. I don't know if that was the same when you did this, Dave.
I called Father and I said, "Are you still interested?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Consider it done."
There you go. Great conversation. Great conversation. So, Bishop Stokes he wants to be the one to make the call,
Yeah, I'm sure.
which is fine. And then he'll just get back to you if there was an acceptance or not. All right?
Just as a little history, I had to tell one of our former priests who wanted to come back that we appreciated all he did for the church, but no thank you. That was
Really?
tough.
I
Yep.
never knew that.
Father Roger.
Oh, Father Roger.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
he
that's a
baptized
tough
me.
conversation to have.
That was
sometimes.
very tough
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he did baptize me. Anyway.
But all you people are
I
going to
don't really remember.
I don't know why.
I wonder why.
all this is new, man.
Yeah.
So, there's lots more. We're not gonna do any more than this for today. I think
Yeah.
that's enough.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through the materials. One of the things you'll see is what a discernment day looks like, because those in-person will be a full day for each candidate. And you're gonna have them celebrate a Eucharist with you. You're going to then do a 90-minute interview, and that's when you really ask the hard star questions. You'll have a lunch together. You may want to walk them around the property, or whatever it is you want to do. Then you will have a 30 to 45 minute, this is actually going back to where we started, a 30 to 45 minute mini vestry meeting with the clergy on a problem that's a live problem for you right now. And say, this is a problem that we've been dealing with as a vestry. We'd like you to lead us in conversation about this problem. That actually allows you to be in a situation and see, how does this priest run a vestry meeting, engage people in conversation, help you do the brainstorming, join you with the brainstorming, the thinking, how he brings people out into the conversation, he or she brings people out into the conversation. That gives you, so by the end of that day, the priest is exhausted, you are exhausted, but you have seen them lead a worship, have a cup of coffee, a mini coffee hour, coffee and donut, an intense 90-minute interview, lunch, listen to see if they can make some small talk, and then a small mini vestry meeting on one subject. And to return to the subject, when you said our signage and what the township won't let us do, have you ever had that problem before? You know, we're trying to work this one out, and put that as a live on the table. There may be something else you want to put on the table, but that's the kind of thing you put out on the table. Okay?
Yes.
I think there's a lot to think about.
Sure is.
There you go.
But it gives a direction more than, okay, you need a search committee,
Yeah,
get one together and
Yeah.
go find
Here you go.
a
Good luck.
priest, you know?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
good. All right. We're done for the day. Do you have any other questions?
No,
One question I had is,
For the-
I missed the first meeting, sorry about that, but it was looked at, and I guess you've looked at our budget, or have you seen our financials?
We talked about your budget, but that was before you had your next budget up.
Mm.
But we did look at, because Ken and Jones was in that.
Right, yeah.
What we say is, to sustain a full-time priest, you should have a budget of about $250,000. And we looked at that, Ken and Jones pulled that right up, and you're very close to that, enough that is sustainable. Because when you think of what a clergy compensation package is, it's half of that. That's the biggest ticket item you have,
yeah.
other than the boiler breaking down, and that's a one-shot deal.
Clerk compensation
so-
is our biggest thing.
It's the biggest thing, it's staff, so clergy compensation, you have your staff, your assistant here, that's the biggest piece. So you've got about 250,000 in your operating, then clergy is half, and we looked at that in that meeting and said, yeah, you can do it. Because there was a concern, someone said, we don't think we can do full-time. So we pulled up the numbers and looked at them, and Canon Jones, that's her bailiwick, she said, no, you got it.
And the difficulty is that to do the $250,000, we lose $80,000 a year.
Yes,
So
we draw down on our reserves.
We,
Yep.
you know, we have a loss, and that may scare candidates away. You know,
Well,
it's
you're going
something.
to explain, they're gonna ask you, how do you do this, and you're gonna explain how you do it. And we did talk about the drawdown, as I recall, we talked about the drawdown.
Right.
So, candidates know that they're coming in, and there's gonna be some things that need to be looked at, but that it is also, it was assessed as being sustainable. That's the
Yes.
piece. It's not ideal, and with the market, things have been really wonky, but it's real right now. And if it's, as long as it's considered sustainable, you're okay.
And they may have ideas to improve the situation, you know, or
Yeah.
whatever, a fresh perspective and whatever, it's just,
Always helpful, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't know.
'Cause that's another thing, like, well, we've always done it this way.
Yeah. And I didn't know what the difference is for a church to have a part-time versus full-time, you know, what, I don't know how, you know, most of us only see canon art on, you know, the Sunday or, you know, for us vestry time.
That's true.
But, you know, think, oh, what does he do all, but, you know, until you see his vestry, or his report,
Yeah,
rector's report,
Closure report, yeah.
all the, you know, the home visits, and he does a lot here, you know, and
And,
he,
And I can
What would
recall a vestry meeting where someone questioned how much time does he actually spend working here every day,
Oh, my
and that
God.
was not pleasant, because
Wasn't.
he had his calendar and all the things he does all the
That's
time,
right.
it's just like,
yeah.
he's full-time,
Yeah.
don't question.
Plus.
and that's one of the things that's an important piece. I interviewed with the congregation once, and they were talking, and they said, well, we wanna know that you're gonna be in the office. I said, I'm pastor, that means
Right.
outside.
Right,
And it's like, if you need someone to babysit the building, I'm not it.
right.
So it's a matter of, what do you want? Do you want me to pastor the congregation and connect with the community, or do you want me to sit here in the building?
Mhm.
And that's the opening up of recognizing that pastoral work is exactly that, and should be. So, what halftime to, Dave, to just kind of give you the short answer, halftime would be a lot more responsibility would be on the vestry.
Yep.
And on other leadership in the church. The clergy is going to do the worship, prepare sermons. I mean, 20 to 25 hours, I have worked half-time and I've never worked half-time, okay? Because 20 to 25 hours goes very quickly
Mm-hmm.
from liturgy prep, sermon prep, pastoral visits, doing, if you're preparing classes, any kind of education, any kind of community work, it goes like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and from that perspective, you would be losing a lot. Some clergy, when they do halftime, say, all right, you got me 2 Sundays a month, figure out what you're gonna do the other 2 Sundays. Do morning prayer
Wow.
or somebody else, cause that's what halftime could look like. So, it's managing, so you do lose a lot, and it puts a lot more pressure on the vestry and on the church to run the everyday, the day-to-day things.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Mhm.
alrighty,
Thank you so much. Carol,
Thank
do
you.
you want contact information in case you have
Yes,
zip
please,
things
thank
that
you.
need to
Yes,
send?
I'll
I'll
send you the-
unzip them and print
I'll
them.
send you the zip thing. I'm also leaving you all of the materials that have been printed out anyway.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Um,
so that's another copy, and then there's a copy here, there's multiple copies of these.
Yeah, and these are all 1 or 2 pagers with the rest of the
Okay,
set, okay? I've got this.
you can make
Well, thank you.
packets
Thank
for
you very much.
the people that couldn't be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Great, yeah, that's good.
Just out of curiosity, how many visits like this do you make in the diocese?
I've been doing a lot actually by Zoom. I did one on Sunday night by Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
We started at 7:30 and ended somewhere around 9 o'clock.
It's
So-
the same type of form?
Exactly.
Uh-huh. So many churches are looking?
Right now, we've got different phases. St. Paul's Westfield is in their early discernment process. They're doing the long process.
Okay.
All Saints in Princeton is doing the traditional, the long process, not the compressed
No, I
process.
didn't know that they were looking,
Yeah, they are.
I didn't know that.
We've got one congregation that's finishing up interviewing. St. Peter's Perth Amboy, we're finishing their interviewing in 2 weeks. Who else we have? We have several congregations that require bilingual priests open, and they've been really challenging to fill.
Oh boy, I
We've
bet.
got like 3 of those to fill.
Wow.
Another congregation is going to do the same way that we're doing with you, accelerated with the priest in place. They're doing it, I just don't know if they announced it yet to the congregation. But I've already met, again, that was an in-person, I was out there, I spent an hour and a half with their vestry, doing the same thing and walking them through this
Yeah.
accelerated process. I've used the accelerated process already in the southern part of the diocese. They interviewed some candidates, they didn't like it, and they're determining they wanna go in a different direction of affiliation. Okay, so we'll do affiliation. So, it's a process that's is moving through the diocese,
Gotcha.
okay?
Okay.
Alright, thank you for
very
your
much.
questions
Well,
and your
thank
time,
you.
and thank you
Careful going
for
home.
taking time off from work to be here today. Good on you. Alright, I will tell you that I do live beyond exit 12,
Oh my God.
and up until about exit 8, it was sleep.
Oh,
Now,
oh wow.
So I'm just hoping it's gonna be better now going back.
I hope so.
And this is why I drive an Outback.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get some changeover, I think we're just gonna get rain.
Yeah, we're supposed to just get rain.
Alrighty,
Alright.
Okay.
Thank you.
very good, I'll
Thank
be
you.
looking to hear from you soon, it's gonna be good,
Yeah,
it's gonna be good,
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, take care.
okay, thank you so much.
Safe travel.
Alright.